throw the dictionary away. When it comes to understanding and living a more imaginative life, the dictionary is not helpful. It will tell you that imagination is about images in the mind disconnected from sensory experience. But this is a video about why that's wrong, about why imagination is very much connected to sensory experience and our embodiment in the world. And it's the first proper video in our series on reimagining imagination. We did the introduction last time. This is the first proper video, trying to give you more helpful, expansive ideas to help you live a more creative, story-filled life. So if that's interesting, stick around. So let's do a little experiment. As you watch the video, imaginative life is alive and happening. You can't get away from it. So what do you imagine? Because I'd like to suggest that you do not imagine a flat, two-dimensional, static, ostensibly dead screen. I'd like to suggest that you're imagining me, a living person, in a three-dimensional place, not a two-dimensional flat screen, in which time is passing by. It's not a static imagining, it's a temporal imagining. So there we go. Through our experiment, we've come to realize that imagination is what allows you to take in the evidence of the senses, which is indeed the pixels, the colored lights on the screen, and indeed the sounds coming from the loudspeaker. And you cook that up, you go beyond the senses to create a story about me and the place that I'm in, and indeed the ideas that I'm presenting to you. That which we call imagination is from the first an attribute of the senses themselves. Imagination is not a separate mental faculty, as we so often assume, but is rather the way the senses themselves have of throwing themselves beyond what is immediately given. So the first thing that we can do to enhance imaginative life is to pay attention to sensory experience. Because to the extent that we are disembodied and not aware of the evidence that's coming into us through our eyes, through our ears, through our skin, etc., etc., we will be imagining in an impoverished, limited, often habitual and repetitive fashion, what's called a fantasy imagining, which is more based on the past and how we've been shaped by that past than actually what's happening around us in the present moment. The moment you leave sensing out of imagining, it is imagining that becomes an inferior function, sheer fantasy, mere imaginings, only a dream. So we can begin to build in now some helpful definitions and understandings of imagination, rather than the dictionary limited one of something just inside the mind, because imagination is appearing between us, our sensory experience, and the world. Imagination appears between self and world, which is why Stephen K. Levine writes, imagination can be said to be the bridge between self and world, but we are always on this bridge. So hopefully it's coming across that imaginative life isn't just some kind of inner fantasy life, but is woven into sensory experience, perception. It's what joins us up to the world. It's what takes us into relationship and participation with others and places and things. And we go on a journey to an ever more enhanced imaginative life through, first and foremost, attending to embodiment. Not in the sense of noticing that we have a body, but in the wider sense of embodiment as a process. Martin Heidegger, he says, we do not have a body, rather we are bodily. So embodiment as participation in a process of interaction with the world that creates this story, this imaginative process. Okay, so there's your video, Embodied Imagination, and I'll see you in the next video where we're going to talk about immersive imagination. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.